By the time Diego met Frieda in 1928, he had left 2 marriages and 3 children and had countless affairs.
In 1911, Rivera marries for the first time, in Paris, the painter Angelina Beloff. Together they had a son, but he died when he was barely a year old. In 1922, he married the model and novelist Guadalupe Marin. They had 2 daughters. Diego was unfit for monogamy. What he lacked in looks, he made up for with his talent, intelligence, and charm. He attracted women like a magnet.
Undeterred by Diego's reputation, Frieda decided to bring her paintings to him, to ask if he thought she had any potential as a painter. She carried several canvases to the base of his scaffold and boldly called him down.
Señor Rivera!
I don't have time to chat with schoolgirls!
I'm not a schoolgirl, Panzón.
What?
Look, I didn't come here for fun or to flirt. I've done some paintings which I want you to look over professionally, and I need an absolutely straightforward opinion of my work.
Leave the best one here. Go home and paint another one. If this one's any good, I'll come and look at that one on my day off.
You have real talent.
Oh, come on. I'm not looking for your compliments. I want a serious critique.
But I'm being sincere. These are very original paintings. None of the usual tricks.
But that's not specific.
Diego thought the canvases, like the girl who brought them, were extraordinary. It was obvious to me, he later wrote, that this girl was an authentic artist. The work, he wrote, her room, her sparkling presence, filled me with a wonderful joy. Frieda and Diego were an unlikely couple. Frieda was 21 and Diego 41. Diego was over 6 feet tall and weighed 300 pounds. Frieda was 5'3" and weighed less than 100. But they entertained each other and were never bored together. To her, Diego was the world's greatest artist, the architect of life. To him, she was a diamond in the midst of many inferior jewels. Their life together was generally filled with tremendous affection and tenderness. One friend remembered how Frieda used to listen at the end of each day for Diego's footfall. She would keep very still, and then when she heard him at the door, she would whisper, "There's Diego." He would kiss her fleetingly on the mouth. "How is my little child of my soul?" She treated him like a god. He treated her like a sweet thing. But fidelity was out of the question for him. Once, a doctor had actually told him that he was unfit for monogamy, and he had cheerfully accepted the diagnosis.
Can be true to only one.
True, yes. Faithful, no.
They had been married less than a year when he had his first affair. Publicly, she struggled to tolerate his behavior. Privately, she was enraged and heartbroken. To make matters worse, she had become pregnant that year and had been forced by medical complications to have an abortion. She began to worry that she would never have a child and that her future with Diego would be filled with heartache.
I cried inconsolably, but I distracted myself by cooking, dusting, sometimes by painting, and every day going to accompany Diego on the scaffold.
During this period, Frieda painted, she said, to fill her time. She had no ambition to become an artist or to paint in the style of her husband. Where Diego's work was grand and symbolic, Frieda's was intimate and personal, and its natural scale grew smaller and smaller until the paintings were usually less than a foot square. She wasn't interested in epic revisions of Mexican history. Instead, her work reflected the impressions of her childhood, of Mexican folk art, and of the tiny, tin ex-votos that hung in the Catholic churches and told stories of people who had been saved by miracles.